I was having extreme highs and extreme lows, and it was exhausting. The endocrinologist decided to give me a continuous glucose monitor, which has been an absolute life-changing tool. And they also gave me a bolus rapid insulin that I use for my meal times. And it's just been, the tools they have given me have just changed my life. It's just, I have more energy now. I have more control. It's more of a continuous, predictable blood sugar. I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes with my two last children, was on insulin with my very last child, my baby. After he was born, they said, no, you are type 2 now. And so I kind of researched a little bit, and they said low carb diet. So that's what I tried, but I never was fully comfortable with that. For 17 years, that's kind of what I did. And then I watched one of your summits, and I was excited to see that I could eat plants. And I never really liked animal meat anyway, but so I eliminated the plants, but I didn't eliminate the oil until I came into the program, into the coaching program. I didn't think it was a big deal. And so I was eating, at that point I was eating nuts, and a lot of nuts and a lot of seeds and a lot of avocado, because they were all healthy fats. And so I was eating a lot of that. I decided that I needed to do a C-peptide test. And so once I got a doctor to get on board with me with that, they did that. And at that point, they diagnosed me with adult onset diabetes. And that's where I am today. My doctor originally was resistant to giving me the test. And so I kept pushing, and they finally did give it to me. I actually had to change doctors at one point so that I could get somebody to cooperate with what I needed to be done. I knew I needed it done. I knew I wasn't where I should be. And so I went and the C-peptide test came back low, showing I produce low insulin. My own body produces low insulin. And so at that point, the endocrinologist said, maybe we have something different here than what we thought. It's not type 2. And so at that point, that's when they reclassified the diabetes to adult late onset diabetes. And that was really important to know, because I knew then that I was approaching this at a different angle. I couldn't expect to come off the insulin that I was on. I knew at that point, even though it was difficult to know, it was something I needed to know. And I needed to know that I would be using insulin for the rest of my life, and that was okay. I needed to become comfortable with that. Prior to learning this information, I did have fairly decent numbers as far as an A1C goes. The A1C, I knew it was only giving them a glimpse of what was happening in my life. I was having extreme highs and extreme lows. So my A1C was looking fine. It was looking pretty much where they wanted me. High 5.8 8 or 5.9 to the low sixes, and they were happy with that. But I knew it wasn't the best life I could have. I was having extreme highs and extreme lows, and it was exhausting. The endocrinologist decided to give me a continuous glucose monitor, which has been an absolute life-changing tool. And they also gave me a bolus rapid insulin that I use for my meal times. And it's just been, the tools they have given me have just changed my life. It's just, I have more energy now. I have more control. It's more of a continuous, predictable blood sugar that I can look at. And I'll say, well, I did this, so I know this is where my blood sugar is going to look like. This is what my glucose will look like in the morning, because I ate this light meal at dinner. I know for sure in the morning I'm going to have a pretty, within reason, predictable fasting blood glucose. And so that's just been eye-opening and life-changing. The amount of carbs that I eat every day are over 300, 330, somewhere around there. And prior to finding Mastering Diabetes, I was eating not even 100 gram carbs a day, maybe 70. That's what I eat for breakfast now. I love to eat fruit. That's probably my favorite food. I eat whatever is in season for us here. One of the first questions I had were, okay, what can I eat? And well, I have to give up my peanut butter. And the more I dug into it, and the more I listened, and the more I learned, I realized it's okay to give that up for a healthier body. It was okay to give it up for more energy. I had more energy. I was getting to a point where I felt lifeless. I felt like my limbs weighed more than they should, and I wasn't able to just walk around the block without becoming exhausted, or just doing household chores without being exhausted. I'm 52 years old now, and I feel like I'm in my 20s. I exercise I didn't like to exercise. I hated it. I didn't like to sweat. I didn't like moving my body. And when they diagnosed me with type 2 17 years ago, I knew exercise was important, because that's what they tell you, low carb and exercise. And so I started exercising, but I was never really fully committed until probably 10 years ago. And then 10 years ago, I decided to become committed to it. But lately it was getting very difficult. I'd say a good year to a year and a half before I found Mastering Diabetes, it had become very difficult. It became a chore because my body was just not willing to move. I had no energy. And so once I found Mastering Diabetes and I got the tools that I needed to control the diet, to control the blood glucose, after that, my body and my energy returned. I know it is important to move my body daily. I can tell the days I don't move my body. I don't sleep as well. My blood glucose isn't as good. I mean, my fasting number in the next morning is not as good. It is so important. I move daily, and I actually really enjoy it. I really enjoy challenge myself in the gym. I enjoy, oh, maybe I can go a couple extra pounds here, and I can lift it 5 pounds heavier than a couple days ago. And I can. And I love the fact that I'm able to move my body. And the results, the blood work, it speaks for itself, but what you feel is a whole lot different. How your body changes it beats the numbers any day. Shortly after I changed my diet and started to see numbers return to a normal range and didn't have the enormous spikes in my blood glucose after eating, I started to see or started to feel with my feet things that I didn't feel before, like a cold tile floor felt cold. Or I cut my foot one day and I felt it, and it was a cut and it hurt, and it was surprising that it hurt. And so my feet have returned to somewhat of a normal feeling. I used to get a nightly burning sensation in one foot, would take over the entire foot. The foot would turn red, and it would just burn for hours. And as long as I keep my diet clean, I don't have that problem anymore. If I stray off just a little and sneaks in a little bit of salt or a little tiny bit of extra fat, then that's when I start to feel the neuropathy pain return.